We are ready for spring here in our store. Today we're going to give you some insider information on how we take junk and we turn it into signs, designs, French home decor, and spring inspired items that we sell for a profit.
So we've noticed at the thrift store, a lot of the things that we've normally been picking up are a lot more expensive than what we like to pay. So we've been finding things that need a little bit of repair, a little bit of work, and definitely a lot of paint. So we've been painting a lot more.
We're going to show you how we do it. First things first, I'm going to start with everything that needs to be salt washed. And I'm mixing up salt wash in DIY's Water Lily. I usually wind up using salt wash in my DIY paint, but it can actually go in any paint, and you could also use it in milk paint. I like to use DIY because DIY is already thick by nature, and this just makes it rock solid. This is the consistency of my salt wash today, and it's up to you how much texture you want. I'm gonna go ahead and get this on here so it can dry, and I have like 3 or 4 things that need to be salt washed. If you'd like to use the paint products you see today, we have them all at JamiRayVintage.com. We also have the items that we thrift and make over for sale as well.
I've got weathered wood mixed in my salt wash. Someone told us this was not a toilet bowl cleaner holder, it's for toilet paper. I'm just gonna make a big canister out of it. It's been bleached, I'm gonna clean it, I'm not worried about it. I'm salt washing it with the weathered wood combo. And then I'm gonna do this house. That's gonna be the base for this house. This was like a tithes box, collection box, something like that.
It was a collection box?
Yeah, it's got a slot in the bottom so you can open it up.
I just thought it was a piggy bank.
I mean, that's a huge piggy bank.
Who has a log cabin collection box?
I don't know.
And I'm actually also going to be using weathered wood to do some base coats and actually some only coats on a few things that are just going to weathered wood. So I'm gonna get that going. The name of the game when you're thrifting and making over, multitask. Nobody makes money if they only do one thing at a time. Next step, we're gonna be bringing on the white swan. I think it's gone a little bit late in the afternoon. I'm getting a little chunky. Anyways, you can paint fabric with it. What I'm going to do is paint these, and then when I put them on the lamp, when they're all done, I will carefully touch up this bottom because it's next to impossible to get it perfect. I'm also going to be painting the outside of this frame white, and then hopefully my salt wash will be dry on my lamps and my jewelry box, and I can go ahead and get a white layer on there too. So it's all about painting in layers, and that way you're washing your brush less and you're getting more done. Just wanna make sure you've wiped it down, and in this case, I'm not worried if it gets crunchy. You can use water to like thin out your paint, but nobody's sitting on this, so I just want a nice solid paint finish. And then I will seal it up with I've actually had great luck with white wax because then it doesn't bring through any stains and just makes it that much whiter. And it'll be so much better than these kind of dated gold looking shades. We paint with the drawers in because we never quite know where it's gonna hit, so that way all the area is painted. Once we're finished, we take them out and clean them up.
We've got this gold frame here that's got that big painting, that oil painting that we sold in it. And the person that bought it asked us to paint the frame. So we are going to, and I'm just using some cornstarch in this IOD mold, and we're going to go ahead and do this corner piece here and add some detail before we paint it. We're using Farm Fresh in DIY paint, and I'm gonna paint over the fabric on this too. And if some of this gold comes through, it'll be okay because the gold with the Farm Fresh pairs really nicely.
Well, we're also gonna be layering on white swan, and then we're gonna bring back some golden ticket, some clear and black wax, so it'll be good. Okay, so next we're just gonna come in with our coat of white swan, and I'm not worried about full coverage on this. I just want to bring out some of the detail, and then we'll wet distress back to the Farm Fresh.
That's one of the nice things about doing these multi-layer finishes. Rarely do you have to worry about 2 coats or full coverage because the point is we want to bring some of these other colors back.
Well, and it looks so cool when you go over the fabric. You just kind of drag the brush. You get this cool like linen effect on it. now we're wet distressing, bring out the farm fresh and the gold, and then we'll be ready to clear wax and dark wax and possibly gold wax. Or I think maybe we should do the gold first.
Before the clear.
And then the clear and dark wax, yeah. I'm just coming back through, and we took gold off, but it was kind of a yellowy gold, and
yeah,
so
it's
now
really, really bright.
So some of that's still coming through, but we're adding this golden patina, and then we'll come back through with black wax and really bring out the detail. So black wax over the gold wax is going to give us an antique gold. It's going to take me a hot minute to get it all done, but I like to use a little brush, so that way I'm only putting it where I want it. It saves wax, and you just really can control where your black wax is going. It makes all the detail of the molds hot. And you want to wipe it back right away, because otherwise it's going to be dirty, dirty. Zeb already clear waxes, so that helps us give us some control, and we're just going to get to black waxing.
Going to give this kind of a, I guess you could say like a moss effect. And then we'll white wax it, and it'll be good to go.
You know, just do random, and then you wet distress it.
Trying hard with the random, I'm trying.
You have to wet distress it, so that way you don't have any sharp edges where it looks like paint. That's the ticket. It's good for you to do things that are hard, like random painting.
I don't have a lot of things that are hard for me in my life. I don't know if you know this.
I did know that.
Like if I do them, it's because I'm good at them. If I'm not good at them, I don't do them.
That's actually very much my personality. I hate it when things are hard.
And some things that I actually really like, and I'll work hard at getting good at them, but being random at stuff has not been one of those things.
You're getting better though.
Just gonna throw a wet distress on this to bring out some of those details, and then we will white wax a couple of these pieces. I might wait until the end to white wax, and we'll just do the waxing all in one batch.
It's like a mass marriage, only it's a mass white waxing.
Yeah.
I like it.
So we were all excited to do these two pieces, and now that we've got paint on, we're like, oh no, what's the next step?
Correction, I was only excited to do this one. That one's yours. Also, there's paint on my mic. I'm just gonna get back to painting. It needs white. I don't know where it's gonna go from here, but I need.
Well, it's got a good base now, salt wash base.
These two pieces, I like to do a Gustavian finish, which is a bunch of soft layers. So I've got creamy and proper milk paint mixed together. That happened because we were using it on a video earlier today, and I was just combining it to toss, and Zeb's like, hey, we're gonna need that. So now I've got them mixed together. So proper and creamy is gonna be our next coat on these. The milk paint is nice and thin, which you want, because Gustavian finishes typically are like layered over time, and then you just like spray them and blot them and then put on the next one. So lots of thin coats, and it doesn't have to be full coverage, because we're gonna probably have 3 or 4 coats at least before we're finished. Our proper and creamy mix is dry. I'm going to get it wet, just squirt it with my squirt bottle, and then dab it with my dry microfiber cloth. Next, we're coming in with Bluebird, which is a light blue-gray Sweet Pickins milk paint. We're gonna just come on nice and thin, and we'll let it dry. Same step as last time. Squirt it with water, dab it, and do a little bit of wet distress in addition to the dabbing, and we will be good to go. We're already starting to get some crackle, which is good, and it's gonna look good.
I've got some DIY liquid patina, and we are gonna decoupage the inset on the side of this jewelry box.
When you're decoupaging, it works best to have a white paint underneath it, because it makes your paper white and bright. The paper we're using is a JRV paper that can be purchased at jamirayvintage.com. We've got the salt wash and the white swan all dry, and now we're gonna be coming in with Bluebird on this as well. And I think I'm going to do kind of more of a wash, so I'll paint it on, and then I'll get it wet and move it around. This will just soak down into all those nooks and crannies.
We have this bakery stencil, and I think I can fit bake down in here without having to cut the stencil. We will see. I'm gonna try really hard to not mess it up.
This is also gonna get bluebird because we have bird paper on it. Get it? Bluebird. Anyways, I think it's gonna be good. And then I think that's still kind of, I might do a wash or something on that. I don't know. We'll see.
Open my birds?
Well, next to them.
Oh,
so it
okay.
looks like they're peeking through. So what I'm doing here is Zeb's already decoupaged this, but I'm bringing my paint line up over the edge, and then we'll distress it, and it's gonna look like old wallpaper that's maybe been painted over and then pulled back, because you don't want it to look like separate. It's just gonna tie it into the piece.
This is one of our JRV grain sack stencils, and I'm just gonna do the corner here. We're putting this on this milk can, and it doesn't need to be super huge. When you're stenciling fabric, make sure you're a little juicy with the paint, because it's gonna soak it down in. All these pieces here are ready for wax or white wax. With the exception of this one, I'm gonna put a 1917 with a stencil over the door here. And then Jami is going to be wet distressing these, and they'll be ready for wax soon. So I just have the ruler stencil here, and I'm just gonna use the numbers with some little black dress, offload real well. And I've got the 3/8 stencil brush so I can make sure to just get right there where I want. Jami is over here meticulously wet distressing all the small little details on this lamp.
We let it dry overnight, and now because the milk paint especially, and then the salt wash, like it just dries rock hard. And I want to give this like a good amount of distress on this detail and less over here. So I'm getting that done, and then I might come back with some gold on this detail, and then it'll be ready for clear wax and done. It's gonna be over here distressing, and the same thing with this piece. It's gonna get wet distressed. I'm probably gonna have to give Zeb a washcloth. Now, if you want to wet distress, make sure you're using the right paint. We use DIY paint and milk paint that we sell at jamirayvintage.com. You can't do this with every paint, and even if it is water soluble, every paint distresses a little bit differently, so just keep that in mind. If you spray paint your piece, you can't wet distress it.
So one of the tricks we like to do when we've got something that's painted white and we want it to be really crisp and white, we also white wax it. And that just helps really enhance that brightness. And if we've missed any little spots, it covers that up really well.
I'm just adding a little sparkle back to my situation, and I'm just hitting a few spots with the gold. And I'm wiping it back as I do it, because you can't wet distress the golden ticket, so I just kind of pull it back as I go. So it just sits down into the cracks, and I'm just adding a little bling. Once this is done, it'll be ready for clear wax. If that dulls down my gold wax or my golden ticket too much, I sometimes will come back with gold wax over it, but we'll see. It's all about layers, 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 layers. If you guys want to make over your thrifted finds, visit JamiRayVintage.com for the paint and products that we use today. If you want some of these items in your home, you can also buy those at JamiRayVintage.com. Stay tuned for all the close-ups and befores and afters of our flips. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more
DIY.
Hey darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty.